Well, we have internet problems today. No surprise. I can't get anything onto your channel at the moment, Linda.
It's all good, honey.
All going pear-shaped
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what's happening. I clear my cache. I do everything, empty everything so that everything's nicely speeded up and the show come on, but it won't let me share.
It's all good, darling. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know, I was just talking to you off air about I'm not feeling the best. A lot of other people I know aren't feeling the best.
Yeah.
We're all getting affected by something.
Yeah.
You know, I can't put my finger on what's wrong with me.
Right.
It's like my whole body, like I've still got my energy, but my body just doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
You know, my breathing is really good because you can hear it,
Right.
but I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I've got tingles all over, so there's something definitely going on. But I'm here. Hello, I'm here. Even though I've got a sprained wrist that's not helping, so at least it's an excuse to wear my gloves tonight because it is really cold in Brisbane. Yes, unnaturally. I'm not going to say unnormal. It is unnaturally cold. You know, we do not get thunderstorms and hail in May. They start in November and they're usually gone by mid-March-ish.
Right.
But May is very, very unnatural.
Right.
Okay? I won't say unnormal because it's not.
No.
You know, we can't say it's not natural. So for those in the loop of knowing what I'm talking about there, you know, I'm pretty sure that they are spraying us with something because a lot of people here are getting sick now. You know, we've got flooding again. Like 2 months ago, we had really bad floods here.
Really?
Oh, darling, shocking. You know, the end of my street's a river again.
Is it?
You know, it's usually just a little creek, but now it's about 30 foot wide when it's just a little trickle of a stream. You know, so there's a lot of roads under everywhere here. And obviously, you know, I remember the 11 floods that we had, you know, where whole suburbs are underwater and people are standing on their roofs, you know, and even the water's coming up like 2 stories high. And all over the media, they called it the flood flu. It was everywhere. You know, don't go near the flood waters because of all the sewage in the waters, all the worms, because there was worms everywhere. I don't know where these worms come from, but there was worms everywhere, like 6 inches of worms in gutters, etc. And that, you know, it was everywhere. Major health risk being there. But this flood that we just had, the last one only 2 months or so ago, there was no health warnings. Just go out, be in it. It's almost like they want us to get sick, Mike.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, here's the good news.
What's that?
I was listening to Joe Dispenza the other day.
Isn't he gorgeous? I love listening to Dr. Joe. Yeah.
I mean, actually, somebody told me about this yesterday, actually, so it's not my find. Joe Dispenza, he'd done a lot of research with scientists and he names the scientists. And he did a control group and they put a pseudo SARS virus into people. And note the words he used, a SARS virus, okay? And with the control group that took no part, there was infection with this pseudo virus, a SARS virus.
Yeah.
Those that had just started meditating, you know, recently or had done things to, you know, just better themselves, had some infection. But those experienced meditators that were able to have heart and mind coherence, bring the heart and mind together, when they put the pseudo virus in, no infection whatsoever.
Yes.
And I'm doing a talk soon on Ascension into 5D, which is really what this is. This limitless possibilities. And, and the science does show for an experienced meditator who can have heart and mind coherence, the SARS virus doesn't get into the cells. And it went
Well,
on to say other things. So,
can I give you some proof against that, Mike?
yeah.
We look at Jesus, whether he is the Son of God, whether he was an ascended master or an angel. He was around thousands of people every day,
Yeah.
lepers, the blind,
Yeah.
crippled.
Yeah.
He was with every nick and cranny
Yeah.
of health.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he ever sick himself?
Yeah.
You know, if you're around lepers and people with all these communicable diseases and contagious diseases, why didn't he ever get any of them?
Yeah.
Because his frequency was so high
Yeah.
where it cannot enter.
No.
Because diseases are all down here on a lower vibration.
Yeah.
And when we do raise ourselves up, because, mate, I'm not sick.
No.
Listen to my voice.
Mm.
I'm not sick. But something is trying to get me, okay? Because I've had this is now day 3 for whatever I've had. And, you know, the good thing is I've had some really good day sleeps, 3 hours sleep through the day, which is totally not normal for me.
No.
But, I know because I do a lot of singing bowl and meditation and stuff myself. So I can attest that this stuff does work.
Yeah.
Then we also look at our diets. Obviously, our immune system does come into it. So we've got to put that factor in there, So, yes, I do eat. Tashi got her braces a week and a half ago. So good thing for us is that every night I've just been doing a vegetable mash, like a thick soup.
The monster mash.
So, yeah, it's like a monster mash for her because of her braces. But, thank goodness that we had that last week. So there's all these synchronicities that do keep us healthy if we are in the right vibration, frequency, or energy field of what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Linda, I got to laugh because soon as you mention, the Son of God, blah, 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 always comes to mind for those that know, he's not the Son of God, he's a naughty boy.
Monty Python, darling, I watched all their movies back in the 80s. I can virtually name every line, and I don't think it was Monty Python, but it was called Yellowbeard.
Right.
And it had Madeline Kahn. She was Yellowbeard's wife in it, and there's some great one-liners in that, all the soldiers turn up at a bar and they've just had this big sword fight and the guard says, "What happened here?" And she says, "Plague."
Right,
And this is just so reminiscent of what the governments have been doing for the past 2 years. All these people dying in car crashes and they call it COVID, So it's so, it's satire at its best. I love it. And, I shouldn't have really said what I just said about the government, but anyway.
But, I mean, the point of it all is, Tricia Hughes there, in my opinion, has got it spot on. And what you said, you raise your frequency to that 5D awareness of infinite possibilities, and you keep yourself out of that 3D self-limiting beliefs, that 5 senses that requires outside support all the time for everything you do. But if you're in that higher realm, then you self-heal physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
And you can heal others. And it is the dimension that's coming, actually. And this is why the world is crumbling around us, because consciousness has raised sufficiently that this world no longer gets support from people, which it needs to survive. So we're currently floating in and out of the 4th density or the 4th dimension, which is a bridging between the two. And that's why you're seeing everything collapse, because it's like anything else. If we don't go into banks and support it, it collapses.
Yes,
and it's the same.
That's right.
Same with the universe.
Yes,
so it's
that's
gifting
exactly
us.
Right.
It's gifting us this opportunity. So
yes, it's virtually saying the ark doors are open. Who wants to come on board with Noah?
Yeah.
That's virtually what they're saying, because it is going to crumble. It is inevitable. Governments around the world cannot survive from what's been going on the last 2 years. There's too many that want too many answers to their questions.
Yeah.
And, even if you're just a person who, say, works 9 to 5, you're right into the three-dimensional world, but you've still got these questions burning in your back of your head. Yeah. Science says that viruses can still get through our face masks, so why are we wearing them? Even if it's just that question. Yeah. But then you go deeper down the rabbit hole and you say, well, isn't it funny how this now avoids eye contact and we're not that connection through our frequencies? And then you go in even deeper with like isolation laws where you can't connect with people in our auric fields. Yeah. You know, so it is a rabbit hole. Yeah. And people are waking up to it. Yeah. You know, they don't get, some of them aren't getting the option whether they want to do it or not, but it's coming into them
whether they like it or not.
Whether they like it or not. Yeah. You know? Yeah, so, you know, there are, and, you know, the thing that I've read about near-death experiences, this is one thing that I do like saying, Mike, is that when a person has a near-death experience like me, you know, because I've sat here for years saying, why me? You know, I'm just a normal, run-of-the-mill, you know, I'm just an average person. Why me? Why was I chosen? And yes, it was in my life contract to do it. So there's one that I totally agree with, because people say, oh, did they sign up to do that? Yes, we did. But then we've got to also look at what position I'm in where I can use that knowledge and wisdom. Yeah. You know, there's not too many NDEs out there who have, I would call an event like mine, which I even call extraordinary, you know, because some people just float, some people see something for a 30-second vision or whatever, but I was up there for 5 years. So that's not me comparing, but it's just saying, hey, I saw a lot more than you did. You know, I was watching this guy the other day, and he came up out of his body, saw the doctor, and then he went back down into his body. And I was thinking, where's the rest of it? Yeah. You know, where's the rest of it?
That was probably enough for him.
Well, that's exactly right. But that's all he needed. Yeah. And that's where we can't compare our stories, because the very fact that he's out there and he's promoting that there is life after death, he has signed up for that job to do it. Yeah. So, you know, most NDEs are the ones who come out, you know, it's like we've been given the job and we've taken it on board. Yeah. So, you know, if someone said to me 30 odd years ago, hey, you're going to die and then you're going to be starting to talk about it, I would have just thought, oh my God, what mushrooms have you been eating today? You know, because, you know, I used to get called the witch back in the 80s, but, you know, I wasn't really paying attention to it because I was in a relationship and, you know, distracted with work, etc. But now I don't work. Now I'm not in that relationship. Yeah. So I've been afforded that opportunity. You know, so because everything in our life, guys, is an opportunity. Absolutely. Every bad thing that happens
if there is such learning. A thing.
That's right.
Anyway, I tell you what.
We've got to get on.
We rattle on, don't we? And we've gone 18 minutes into the show and we haven't heard from Katerina yet. So
let's go and
hear what things she's come up with this week. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Caterina Campagna, and I'm here to bring you the Open Door News segment. You know, the news that makes you go, ah! Brr! Or simply, why is no one else talking about this? Well, we're talking about it today here with you. So thank you for watching. We're going to talk about dolls. Yeah, you know, those creepy little things that sometimes seem to have a life of their own. Have you ever seen like Santa under the glow light of a Christmas tree and he just looks like he's just a little bit too happy to be there? Well, a similar problem is happening right now in England. A lady by the name of Mia, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, or she goes by her Instagram handle of Soul Mari. She has a whole host of dolls that are there to do whatever their bidding is, apparently, including causing a mass exodus of her apartment building, since the paranormal activity is freaking the other tenants out. Now, they have reported instances of dolls moving their heads, blinking their eyes, and whatever nefarious little deeds they're up to all on their own during their waking life, I don't know, sleeping life, whatever you'd call it, behind those cold dead eyes. Now, the haunting of Solmari's existence happens, she said, in England when she was a child at her first residence. She was contacted by a ghost named Gilbert, and she also has a doll named Gilbert, as well as another named Annabelle, of all things. But she says that she prays that the spirits don't bother other people, that they just try to, that she prays to try them, to have them just mess with her, if possible. But I don't know, by the mass exodus of her apartment building, they might not be listening to her. From a creepy doll to a creepy ritual. Now, here is a story that many of you might not have found so surprising. Megan Fox revealing that her and her fiancé, Machine Gun Kelly, regularly drink just a few drops of each other's blood for ritual purposes. Now, you can say this is crazy, in the vein of Elizabeth Bathory. I don't know. Or you could just say it's yucky. Whatever it is a bit weird, and I want to know what they gain from these rituals. She also went on to say in an interview that she's into astrology and tarot cards, and these rituals happen when, of course, on the full moon. Oh, it's nice when people are reliving horror movies in real life. Now, I don't know, is it part of the corrupt web of Hollywood and the music industry? Machine Gun Kelly's album did go to #1. I don't know. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And there's also an interesting tie-in with success being gotten from spooky rituals and killings in Dave Grohl's comedy film Studio 666. People are saying it's not a coincidence that Taylor Hawkins passed close to when the film was released, or Dave Grohl's album came out, his solo album. I don't know. What do you think? Such an interesting topic. Is the Illuminati real then, with all their symbol flashing and covering an eye, which also happened in the Dave Grohl film? Such a hotbed of coincidences that you could pull from. So that's it for this week, my friends. I hope you stay curious. I hope you stay happy. And above all, stay curious.
Well, we do know that Mr. Grohl is up to his little neck in all of that stuff. My view is that he is a, what's the word? He is an actor put in place. I think his great-grandfather or great-great-great-grandfather was a former president of the United States. His best buddy is our dear old friend Paul McCartney. Excuse me.
Which one?
Not the original. But anyway... so he's up to his neck in it all. I've done a lot of research with David Grohl. I do like his version of Band on the Run, by the way. But
yeah.
So yeah, and I think Hollywood is being exposed as the three-dimensional world falls apart. It is being exposed more and more and more. So,
yeah.
I mean, these rituals, I guess when you're a little bit short of the old Chrome and that other Google word.
Adreno thingy.
Yeah, that's it. You got to make do, haven't you?
Yeah.
But there you are. I mean, it's a bizarre world. It's a very sick world, actually.
Yes.
And it is very, 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 very low frequency world. And thank God we got so many people meditating today and with a raised consciousness, because we'd be in a bigger hole than what we're in now if we didn't have it.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
And what's this business of 666, a movie 666? I mean, they're telling you everything's hidden in plain sight. So if we don't see it and we do nothing about it, we only have ourselves to blame, I guess.
That's right. You know, and the worst thing that I find, Mike, is that they're, you know, now with, I've got to be politically correct here because I don't want it to get us banned. There's more than so many genders. There's things that kids can do now that are no longer deemed immoral type things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these things coming out. Rights of children, etc. It's not right. And there's a lot of people right there just standing up and saying, you know what, my morals, my values say this isn't right. So I'm not going to agree with it.
Yeah.
And as soon as we say those words, I do not agree with it, we're creating that energy to make them fail.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a film crew, I saw this video the other day of a school in America, and the book that's on the library for their juniors to read, like we're talking 8-year-olds in this elementary school, and it's men with little boys type stuff. And the woman's there against the board, and someone's filming her, and she's saying, look at what this book reads. We've got to get this out of the school system. Yeah. And they say, oh, no, it has to stay because we've got to let children know what's out there. Yeah. So if they do want the right to do it themselves, but even though it's illegal, the kids still have to have the right to know it. And I'm thinking, no, they're kids. Let them be kids,
Exactly. Let them grow up and be children.
This whole 666 revolution, because I'm going to say it is like a revolution now where it's coming out, the people doing this with their, well, you can't really see because I've got,
this,
this symbol and this symbol. Yeah. It's all symbols.
666, by the way.
It's all symbols.
6.
Yes. It's all symbols that they're doing. It's horrible.
Angela Merkel was always sitting like this. Always. The former German chancellor, always, I'll have to do it like that, always sitting like that. But
that's
now,
right. And then you see other politicians around the world doing the same symbol.
Well, Charles is always like this with his hand in there. This is an Illuminati symbol, like Napoleon.
Well, you can't see, though, so you got to come up a little bit.
He'd always have his...
Yeah, he sticks it in. Yeah. He sticks it in, yes. But let's just get off that because I think we've said enough. I want to go over to the dolls.
Yeah.
Demi Moore, because I love Demi Moore because she was in Ghost, obviously, with Patrick Swayze. But she actually bought a house just for her dolls.
That's insane.
She had over 2,000 dolls. Yeah. So she bought this house. I think it's in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania. It starts with a P anyway. And it houses her 2,000 dolls. So people can go there, but you're not allowed to move the dolls. But she goes there every month just to rearrange them and put them where she thinks they want to be. Yeah. You know, that should have been on Katerina's episode right there. Pamela Anderson with Tommy Lee Jones. Not Tommy G. Lee Jones. God, he was awesome. Yeah. Tommy, the guy from one of those Motley Crues or whoever he was from. They used to have vials of their own blood around their neck, and apparently they used to do shots. Yeah. crazy stuff, you know. And that was, when did she marry Tommy? God, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago?
Lasted about a week, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, they were right into the blood. And you look at her now, they've sold their souls because, you know, you can tell the ones who take that adreno autochrome stuff. Yeah, you can tell the ones who do because they look so good. You know, they don't age at all.
No.
And, you know, they're really playing with the devil's work when they do that sort of stuff. You know, because, you know, we in spirituality, we learn that it's not our looks, you know, that makes us. It's what's inside us that makes us. But these other people on the other side of the fence, they believe that their physical appearance matters. You know, I don't want to name too many names, but Pammy Anderson is definitely one of them. You know, there's rumours out there of certain big names, which I don't want to start the list, but, you know, there's heaps on the list. You know, you've just got to look at someone who's 70 and they still look 30. And that's a good representation that they're doing something.
Well, I've done a lot of research on it. Obviously, I've got a lot of time on my hands, but I've done a lot of research on it, and it's not nice. I've got to tell you, it's not good. And I'm sure, Linda, with our kind of understanding of spirituality and vibration, not just me and you, but anyone who has got a feel for it, if you was to meet one of these people, it would send a shiver down your spine.
I think it would.
Your frequency would pick it up.
Yes, your frequency would pick it up. You know, I go to the shops. I go up to the supermarket. I go and get petrol. And it's funny when you just walk past someone and you get like this shiver. And then you turn around and you look at the person and you think, what the hell was that? That's the clue, guys, watching. That's the clue. If you come into close proximity with someone and you get like a shiver, it's either showing that they're very, very off frequency, or they're so aligned with you that it's that zap of common energy attaching.
And you know the difference. It's a shiver, but you know a good one and a bad one.
Yes,
it comes very
that's
clear.
right. Yeah, you know, you get like this feel with it. And you think, wow, what the heck was that? Because, you know, that happens to me like every time I go up to Grand Plaza, which is the mall up near my place. But, you know, I don't like going in there because the energies in there are just so negative. You know? Oh, my God. Anyway.
Linda, shall we go and look at some ghosts?
Yes, let's go and have a look at some ghosts.
The first one you found for us. Very interesting.
Yep.
Here we go. Let's run these and have a look. Ah, there you go. A very angry ghost. Let's have a look at the first one, Linda. Well, either someone has a very, very lot of time on their hand and is excellent at Photoshop, or it's the real thing. What do you reckon?
I'm actually inclined to think it's a real thing.
I would kind of think so, actually.
You know, you can tell it's amateur because they're not in the middle of the photo.
No.
And also where the hand comes up just like the bottom, like here. So you can just see it.
Yeah.
It's not centered.
No.
So if you blink, you miss it.
Yeah.
Because I actually had to watch that twice before I found it. Because I was actually looking at the top of the screen where the pool was.
Right.
Because that's where the majority of the camera was. So I'm looking up thinking, oh, something's going to come out of the side.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the man and I was thinking, well, what's going on with the man?
Yeah.
And then I looked at the boy and I saw it and I went, oh, my gosh. So, you know, people who create or fabricate ghost stories, they don't do it like that.
No,
they want people to see it initially. They want it, like the second one with that lady walking across, which I'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
They want it to be right in the middle of the screen so everyone says, oh, my God, that's a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they don't want that, where is it? What am I looking for type thing.
Yeah.
You know, because they want the fame and glory that comes from it.
Yeah. But I was looking at the first one there and along the side, and I was trying to see if there was any shadow or somebody really just tucking themselves in.
Yes.
Or below the waterline, it recesses back where someone could hide. I don't know. But
that's right. Yes.
But the way that hand was coming up, you couldn't be under a recess and do that.
No.
So it's either real or I'd like that guy's number if he's doing Photoshop stuff like that, is all I can say. But I would run with that's real for the reasons
I'm
you
actually
say.
inclined to think, yes, I think it's real too, darling. Yeah, so what's your thoughts on the second one with the woman walking across the photo?
Since our dear friend Jeff showed us how easy it is to fake something like that, and as you say, this is clearly in focus, right there for everyone to see, I'd have to say this is fake. But I'm open to what anyone else thinks. Let us know your opinions, everyone, what you think.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I have seen that, and it is a Chinese video.
Right.
And I also know that the Chinese are prolific at making fake ghost videos. Yeah. They love it over there. Yeah. So that's something not in the favour of this being legitimate.
Right.
The fact that the camera pans with it, so it's not like a static security camera.
Yeah.
And it's right in screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, too
neat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Too neat.
Yeah.
You know, too neat. You know, because the camera pans with it. Yeah. You know, I've been out on many ghost hunts and it happens so quick that you just haven't got the camera ready, or you're out of focus, or you're not in shot, you know, because as soon as they walk across, it's like, oh, quick, grab the camera. And, you know, so this guy obviously had the camera already on, already focused, already at that spot for it to walk across in front of him. So, you know, how many real ghost apparitions have I caught on film?
Right.
0.
Yeah.
0. The only one that I've ever got are those photos from Toowong. So, you know, and I've been on hundreds of ghost adventures or ghost tours, etc., where it's not worth the, you know, I've got stuff there, but it's always stuff that you can debunk. Oh, it could be that, or it could be a dust, or it could be a moth, or something like that. But, you know, for that one, it's just too perfect, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, because I know when you're out there, because ghosts don't say, okay, we're going live in 3 seconds, 2, 1, film. They don't do that.
Yeah,
So it's always just, and that's what gives us that scare factor when it occurs, because we're not expecting it.
Yeah.
That film guy filming, he was expecting it because it was there and it followed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not liking that second one. Okay?
What about the third one? I think we may have seen some of that before in the early days, but
oh my gosh, darling,
kind of funny, really.
I actually could see Sam Wheat from the movie Ghost sitting there when he's worked out that his friend is out to get Molly, his wife, played by Demi Moore. Funny that I was just talking about her before with her 2,000 dolls. Yeah. But anyway, Sam Wheat, there's a scene where he's writing his name, Sam Wheat, Sam Wheat, Sam Wheat, on the computer, and then he sits in the chair and he pushes himself backwards. Yeah. I could imagine that, there's a ghost sitting in that chair just kicking their heels and moving around there and just opening up the filing cabinets and saying, why are you here? I don't like us here. Get rid of that paperwork. Why haven't you shredded that report? Why haven't you shredded that report? So I saw it in a laughable type of situation myself. It is actual real footage. Yeah. Because you can tell by the camera in the bottom, it is surveillance footage. Yeah. Because of the age of it. Back in, I think it was filmed in 2012. There wasn't too many people out back then setting up like fake cameras that were security cameras. You can tell that one room is outside the other because it's the communal door. Something gets thrown before the door and then the door can't open. That would suggest that it is real good surveillance, because that's how you do it. You do one door and then you show the other room showing the same door. So if someone walks through, you got it on both cameras. Yeah. So that makes sense. But I think that third one was real myself too. Beautiful. I'd love to go in there and spend a night. I'd go in there with my water bottle and my cameras setting up so I could see what's going on. Yeah, it'd be really cool in that place, I tell you. Yeah. Wow.
So it's the real deal, you think, this one?
I think it is, Dar. Yeah, I think it is the real deal.
Well, someone's going to be really pissed off in the morning and find all that stuff all over the floor.
Oh, absolutely. You look at those swivel chairs, and a good thing to look at, I'm in a swivel chair here. Yeah. So the chair swivels so they can attach a wire or something to the arm of it. Yeah. But then you've also got the bottom base, which is usually across with the four wheels, right? And you look at them, how they rotate as it's going around. So that's a good way of knowing if it's real footage or whether they're using a string. Yeah. Because if the wheels all move, then there could be a string attached to the top, but they're moving, so there's no way that you can have strings attached to that. And I was watching those chairs. Yeah. The bottom wheels were moving around. Right. So it'd be very, very hard to attach a string there because it'd all get rolled up. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I like that one.
Super. Yeah. Okay. Ghosts are done. Let's go and have a look at the Four Girls time slip. One of the good time slip stories, actually. Little twist towards the end of it. Yes. Let's have a look, and please, people, let's have your opinion on all this after. Here we go. Yeah.
The Four Girls and the Canyon. Four girls had spent their Saturday at a rodeo in Pioche in May 1972. With the rodeo over, the girls began their journey back to Southern Utah University. Their route home would see them cross the desolate Utah-Nevada state line at approximately 10 p.m. It was here that they came across a peculiar fork in the highway. They decided to take the left turning and head through Gadianton Canyon. As they were driving, they suddenly noticed the black asphalt turn to white cement. The girls thought they must have taken a wrong turning and decided to turn around and head back toward the fork in the highway. As they were heading back, however, they noticed a landscape that they were sure they hadn't passed on the way. They were now driving past grain fields and ponderosa lines. The desert they had been driving through previously had vanished. Confused, the girls decided to ask for help. They came across a roadside tavern and thought it was best to ask a local for directions. This plan was quickly abandoned after one of the girls began screaming hysterically. The girls claimed they had seen 4 egg-shaped vehicles mounted on tricycle wheels with bright lights on top, chasing after them. They hit the road, fast and scared, and the white cement suddenly turned back to the normal black asphalt they had remembered from the desert. They had returned to the desert that they were familiar with, but in the mass confusion, they found themselves wrecking the car in a creek, leaving them with 3 flat tires and with no means of getting help. The 4 girls decided to wait it out until morning before taking a hike to Highway 56, where they had managed to flag down a state trooper. They told the trooper how they had ended up where they had, but the trooper was obviously skeptical and found the whole story to be bizarre. However, their story became even more mysterious when the tire tracks from the Chevrolet that the girls had been driving had ended suddenly over 200 meters into the desert. How the girls ended up over 3 kilometers north of the highway with no evidence of their journey was baffling. The girls believe they had traveled to another dimension, and just like the others, their story has become one of the most famous cases of dimensional travel. This is probably the most baffling of the cases mentioned, as there were 4 witnesses to the same event. While these events are 3 of the most popular, there are many more cases of people who claim to have experienced a similar sort of thing.
What do you reckon? I mean, you know, as these 2 worlds merge now, and as the veil that separates the 2 worlds becomes closer, we're seeing a lot more of deja vu, intuition, time slips, cross-dimensional stuff. I know this is going back a little bit, but it seems to be re-emerging, all this kind of stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
And I dare say our buddies in Switzerland, CERN, have got something to do with it as well.
Well, something that they were using at CERN broke down last week.
Or
was it last week or last decade?
The Hadron Collider.
Something in there broke down.
Yeah.
So, you know, even though they were saying it was last week, how do we know it wasn't last decade?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The timelines,
you know, it's like they're just saying, the timelines are all out of whack.
Yeah.
But when you've got tyres on a dirt road that stop, and then the car is 3 kilometres away, or was it the girls that were found 3 kilometres away from where the car was? I think the tyre track stopped.
That's right.
And the car was 3 kilometres away in the ditch. How the heck do you explain that one?
Yeah. Well, how do you explain that tyre tracks stop and you're further ahead down the line? Exactly. I mean, it doesn't make any logical sense in our world, in our parameters.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
So let's just go to what they said they saw. They went into a tavern. Obviously, that tavern wasn't there, okay, in our dimension, okay, in our reality, the tavern wasn't there. And outside, they were getting chased by these egg-shaped objects with wheels.
3 wheels, tricycle wheels.
3 wheels, like tricycle wheels. So what the heck are those? You know, could it be some futuristic automobile that hasn't been invented yet? You know, or is it alien?
Yeah.
Or is it something from the past? Because they didn't really say too much information about the actual tavern that they went into.
Yeah.
You know, was it from 100 years ago? Was it like futuristic where, you know, they've got some levitating game, you know, instead of a pool table, it now levitates, so it hasn't got legs, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that I'd like to talk to them about what did they see in that tavern.
Yeah.
You know, anything that would identify a location.
Yeah.
Because what we find with these time slips, Mike, not only do people go forward or backwards in that time distortion, but, because that's a scientific word if you want to go look it up, time distortion, but they also bilocate with other locations. So we're in, say, Austria, but then when you go into this distortion, you're now in Australia.
Yeah.
And then you go back to Austria. That's the sort of thing.
Yeah.
So some people just go forward or backwards in time and they're still in exactly the same spot. Other people go totally different locations.
Yeah.
So the geography is not correct.
Yeah.
So, obviously there are people out there doing some top secret research into this phenomenon.
Yeah.
They know more than what look at the Philadelphia experience and that came out like 40, 50 years ago. So they are still working on this. They do know things that they're not releasing to us.
Yeah.
But slowly and surely the truth is coming out in movies.
Yeah.
And I love it how the producers of these movies do put the bits in there, like Stephen King, even though a lot of people don't like him personally. But he does drop the ball. Look at Avatar with how the humans destroy everything.
Yeah.
He drops the ball. So I'm loving that he does that. So hopefully that we do start getting these slips of what these time slips or time distortions or bilocation distortions are, because obviously it is out there and it is coming to be more apparent now, which is great.
Right.
Especially with the use of the internet and cameras, etc., which they didn't have 200 years ago.
Yeah.
But interesting stuff. Just to...
Well, I'll tell you what. There's something called the looking glass.
Yes.
And apparently it was gifted to humanity by aliens, and the bad guys got it. And they had a look at their agenda today. And in every dimension, in every timeline that they looked at, they lost. But
so for those who don't know what the looking glass is, it shows the outcome in the future of any thought that we have.
Yeah.
So it's like it shows the consequence of an action. So, if you're thinking, I'm going to have a war with a certain country, it shows the reality of what will be, this looking glass thing, because up in space there is no time. So if we have an intention, which is our thought, so we have this intention, I'm going to have a war with a certain country, you can look into this looking glass and it will tell you the outcome. It'll show you what will happen when it happens. Yeah. And as Mike just said, every scenario of certain things has failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, there's a lot out there who know about this looking glass. Yeah. So if you just go to Google, and I think you've got to put in alien looking glass, because it is alien technology that they gave us to look into this looking glass thing. I'd like to see into it and see what happens, hello.
Yeah.
So... But do I want to really know the truth? That's the thing, I don't want to know the truth. I don't want to know the future about too many things. That's what makes this life so interesting.
Well,
we don't want to know the future.
As it was put to me, kind of, paraphrasing, that we've already won the spiritual war, and it's just the earthly or the energetic war that needs to be completed now. And it is getting completed.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I'll tell you.
All righty. The Angels.
Voice. Ooh. What a beautiful story.
This one is a gorgeous story, Mike.
Beautiful story. We'll run this. And again, let us know your thoughts on this. It's not a spoiler alert, but I will say, the spirit world, when it needs to get motivated and get something done, when it has permission to get something done, it's very effective at getting things done.
That's right.
Okay, Let's have a look.
Now, Jim Bilbrey tells us in his own words about an event that changed his life forever and saved his daughter from a terrible death.
So he had this new one, and he wanted to show it to us. Well, he showed the boys how you put the gunpowder in, you measure it, stick it in, you put the patch and the ball in there, shove it on down. Then he would set this primer cap at the trigger mechanism where he'd drill a little hole in there or make the hole bigger and clean. And then he'd take it outside and fire it. So he had this new one, and wanted to show it to us. My little daughter Carissa, she's about 5 at the time. Jeremy was probably 9 and Jason was 12. About 70 feet up the hill, he'd had set up a target. The target was made from an old box that had held a toy, and he'd flattened it out and put it up there. And Dad says, I need a bullseye for the target. I said, well, I got a business card, and I fished out a business card out of my pocket.
Put that on the target, shoot his eye. That'd work.
Went on up the hill and stuck it on the target, which was setting against a small tree stump, a rotten tree stump.
Hey, keep an eye on his shirt, because he's going to shoot. He wants to watch down at the target this time. He's going to shoot this time, so plug your ears. Look at Grandpa, look at that gun.
So he aims,
plug your ears.
and the boys just, they're holding their ears. He pulls the trigger, and the ball went boom.
Check that out. Come
Shot through the air, hit the target, blew through it, blew apart part of the stump behind it, and ran through several saplings. It was an amazing amount of power for something so primitive. I couldn't believe it. And Dad said, well, I got one more ball to shoot. Who wants to try it now? Dad was good that way. He would let us learn by doing. He showed them how to clean out the rifle, how to measure out the gunpowder so you had just the right amount, pour it in neatly, and put the patch and the ball, and ram it down in there again. And we stood there, and Dad got ready. None of us thought about the fact that Carissa wasn't around. We figured she'd gotten bored. He put his finger on the trigger. Dad had the target lined up. Things got quiet. Suddenly, from behind us came a wall of sound. It was a voice, but none of us had said it. It had presence. It pushed against us. And Dad took his finger off the trigger, and out from behind the target stepped Carissa. She had been, she said, looking through a hole in the target. Her head was where the bullseye was. The next bullet would have gone through there. And my knees just turned to water. Dad turned pale. The rifle came down. Automatically, we knew instantly what would have happened to her if she hadn't stepped out from behind the target, or if the voice hadn't happened. It was a miracle that my little girl was not dead. She would have been gone. We wouldn't have had Carissa anymore. Now Carissa is 14 at this time, soon to turn 15. She's a poet with great wisdom. I'm so grateful we have Carissa with us. We know that what happened was a miracle. I don't know what else to call it.
What was that sound the Bilberys heard? Who called out to them in that voice like thunder that told them Carissa was in danger? The Bilbery family will tell you it was a miracle.
Yeah, it must have been one hell of a roar to disturb people in that way. Yeah,
That's right.
and the thing is, it seems, sorry, excuse me, it didn't, no one in that conversation there seemed to suggest, well, it might have been, a forest truck or something happened that,
A plane going over.
yeah, or on the roadside there, maybe a herd of cows had been,
Cattle, yeah.
So
Rampeding,
it was clearly some unknown sound that saved the day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it had to get all of their attention
Yeah.
to stop what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, we look at the synchronicities there of why did it happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, I loved his line where he said, I'm so grateful we have Clarissa with us. So that's recognizing that she's still with them physically and not spiritually. Spiritually. He's, again, the synchronicity that these people were in that opportunity to actually reenact it and to get that story out there. More and more people are starting to want to hear stories like this now.
Yeah.
People are sick and tired of all the gruel and doom that we see on TV, and they want to see uplifting stories. So, you know, that's why we invite people to come onto our show. So anyone out there, if you have had a spiritual event, whether it's a ghost story, angel, you had a visitation at night, or you're abducted or whatever, if it was something of the paranormal or spiritual realms, please contact myself or Mike. And, you know, if you don't want to do a little video up and come onto our show, just write it up as a text and Mike or myself will read it out on screen. So we start getting the real stories of real people out there. That's the main thing. You know,
and by the way,
people are,
some people have been in touch with me, and I am dealing with it. It's just been a little bit of a week this week, so I haven't forgot you or forsaken you. I'm getting on with it.
Can we just go into it, Mike? You know, this week, guys, just remember there has been a hell of a lot of roller coasters going on for people. You know, if you haven't noticed, I'm not looking the best tonight, but I feel okay, but it's sort of like I'm not in myself. You know, it's just weird what we're all going through. You know, our emotions are heightened, our physical beings are heightened. So, you know, it could be a lot of different things out there from, as I said before, comets and meteorite showers through to sunbursts, those rays that come off. It could be anything to do with the Mercury retrograde. What did someone comment before? Oh gosh, some moon in retrograde as well. You know, moon does control our emotions. Okay, I will go there. So if you do feel sad, or you know, you think, wow, what is going on with me? Just remember to pause, have a really good bubble bath or a shower, because that's cleansing. And just keep thinking all your happy thoughts, guys, because we are getting through this. You know, a lot of things are happening in the background, and we don't need to know what they are. We don't need to know. But just allow it to occur and just look after ourselves first. You know, I've been doing my EFT tapping all week, you know, where you do the karate chop on your hand. So you just tap there, and you tap the other side like you do as a karate chop here. I should just take off my glove for this one. So it's here where you do the karate chop, right? So you tap there just lightly. On the top of your forehead, on the top of your head, there's a little welt. So you just find that, you tap in there. Below your nose, below your chin, in that little hollow. On your clavicle, left and right side of your clavicle, which is here. So you tap there and then you tap there. Where a bra would go across under your armpit, you tap in there. And oh, look at that already. Whew. I felt that, and I was only just doing that for like 30 seconds. So
it is effective. Very effective EFT.
It's very and it does help if you've got your Thor. I'm wearing my Thor shirt tonight. It's when he's fat Thor I'm wearing tonight.
Fat Thor.
Well, darling, I'll just take it off because this is really cool. I got this at JB Hi-Fi. No, I didn't. I got it at EB Games because they sell all like Marvel stuff. So this shirt, I'll just bring down my camera so you can see it. So we've got Fat Thor on the front where he's got his big gut and his beard. And on the back, whoops, turn around, I'm still worthy.
There
on
you
the
go.
Back. So it's when he goes back to Asgard and he meets his mum who dies that day, and he reaches out for his hammer and it comes in. You know, he looks like this, all fat, and he says, "I'm still worthy." So it's like a epiphany for him because he's still Thor, God of Thunder. Speaking of gods, I've got my little god here. Hello. Hang on. We don't usually show her too much. Nope, she's going outside again there. Just the cat. Just the cat. She must be hungry.
Okay.
Good. All right. So we got
two left. Let's have a look at the Gennette Biro NDE. I quite like this one. I really like the enthusiasm in which she talks about all this, and I'll say it without really spoiling too much, one of those rare ones where she really said, no, I want to come back, I've got to come back, and was enthusiastic to come back, but not for any nefarious reasons or anything. But let's look at this and see.
Let's go and have a look at it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But I remember when the doctor said that the anesthesiologist was going to put the gas on me, I remember I was like, all right, yeah. And I kind of remember observing myself thinking like, what? Are you crazy? You know, and I thought maybe I would have some really interesting astral travel or, you know, a spiritual understanding of sorts. I never expected to find myself on the other side. I have been to the doorway of the other side with different souls, but I have never been able to be closer than 3 steps to that light. I've always been propelled backwards. In this case, I literally found myself on the other side, and I knew exactly where I was. And I knew that that meant I was at a juncture point. And so when I found myself there, it was my grandmother, actually, my Baba, who came to greet me. And I found I was walking on this most beautiful green grass, this grass that as I was walking and I could feel it under my feet, if I wanted to, I could zero in on the detail of it without having to bend down and look at it. I was just standing, but I could see it if I wanted to. And I also noticed the sky was this most beautiful summer blue, that bright, vibrant summer blue. And I walked towards this like summer barbecue type scene. And I started noticing that all the different people that were there were people that had been in my lifetime here who'd passed. My grandfather was there, different family members, friends, but also people or souls that I knew from lifetimes before. And I knew them as much as I would know anyone in my life here. It was like when you haven't seen friends for a while and then you meet up and you just start talking and you catch up right where you left off. It was like doing that with people from lifetimes before. I knew all of them, and they had all gathered there to welcome me. And the hugs that I got on the other side were like, the closest thing that compares to these hugs is like when we hug a child and they're so happy to see us and they throw themselves in your arms. It was like those kinds of hugs. And my experience on the other side was only 20 minutes of our human time. But for me, the whole thing lasted like what felt like 24 hours. And so I spent hours and into the late evening with all of these beautiful souls and family members and friends. And we talked and we reminisced and we laughed and we caught up on all kinds of things. The joy and bliss that I felt there still can get me choked up. It was like nothing else. It was not joy or bliss in excess. Sometimes on this planet, I think we think bliss means ecstatic states. It wasn't. It was harmony. It was balanced. And that's what was so beautiful about it. It was just joy. And so after what felt like hours there, my grandmother then took me to this next phase of my journey on the other side. And we ended up in this room, this white room with this giant boardroom table that was all white. And my council was there, my ascended masters and council, the souls that helped me in this lifetime that we all have, right? We all have a council. And I ended up there, and outside the windows was like the farthest reaches of the universe and galaxies. And when I got there, the guide on my left rolled out this blueprint. And I was surprised to see a blueprint because it looked so much like a blueprint like we would see architects have. And I remember almost kind of like laughing because I was like, wow, this looks like a normal blueprint. But down the center of it was this iridescent light that was moving back and forth, and I could see that it was still alive. And what we did is we did this like life review of everything I had done up until that point, and we reviewed it. And then it was at that point that Spirit asked me if I wanted to stay or cross over fully. And I was like, what? And they were like, do you want to stay here? And I had full ability to stay in heaven, but none of it felt like pressure. None of it felt like I had to. There was no panic in that moment, but I had a knowing throughout my whole being of, yes, I want to go back. I have more I need to do. I had already invested so much time into this human life. that I wanted to go back. And I realized the soul perspective of that in each and every struggle that I had had, how much I had gained and how much value that was so much a part of why I wanted to come back and keep going. And so they said, if you want to go back, you can, but if you want to stay, it is simple. Your body has been weakened to a point that we can basically flip a switch, and you'll have a heart attack and you won't be revived. And I was like, wow. But I still was like, no, I want to go back. I have things I need to do. I want to be there for my kids and family, and I want to do more. And so it was at that point that they said, okay, since you're going to go back and do more with what's remaining of your life, and it was about this long, and I don't know how long that means. I don't know if this is reference of 30 years, 40 years, 5 years, I don't know. But what I was able to do was change out different juncture points. And this is when I really got the understanding of how much we do create our blueprint before we come in to this lifetime, because here I was having this opportunity to reassess some things going forward. And so the first one that I pulled out, which they kind of looked like fuses in a fuse box along this iridescent line. The first one I pulled out was chronic health issues. And I remember pulling it out and being like, are you sure I can do this? And they're like, yes, because I had always been plagued with chronic health issues growing up. If ever there was going to be somebody sick, it was going to be me. I was like that canary in a coal mine for my family. And so I remember pulling that out and putting it down and picking up one of health and wellness. And I remember looking around like, really, I can do this? And they were like, yes. So I put that one in. And then I proceeded to change a couple more. But they said, they're like, you will remember this first one. We'll give you that memory, but you're not going to remember the next ones that you changed. And I was like, okay. And then they told me, they're like, several things will fall into place in rapid succession to get you on your path. And I said, okay. And that's when they asked me one more time, are you sure you want to go back? And my whole energy, my soul was like, absolutely, absolutely, I want to go back. And so it was at that moment that I could hear the nurse in recovery say, Gennette, are you awake? And this all happened within seconds, split seconds, but I heard her say, Gennette, are you awake? I felt my soul go whoom, back into my body. I could still feel and see my grandmother beside me, but I was back in my body now. And before I could even speak through consciousness, I felt my higher self come in and speak to the nurse. And again, she said, Gennette, are you awake? And suddenly, in such clarity, and I'm not clear when I come out of surgery, it's actually quite funny, but in such clarity, I said to the nurse, I need you to write something down. I still had my eyes closed. I'm like, I need you to write down these 4 phrases, these 4 words or statements. And then I need you to fold up that paper and put it in my hand. And she stopped what she was doing and she wrote down what I said. And they're words that wouldn't really make sense to anybody. But they were important for me. And so she folded them up, put them in my hand. And I remember I held them right against my chest. And then she went on with what she was doing and gave me pain meds and all of that. And so by the time they wheeled me back into recovery, I'd given this paper to my mom and I said, don't lose this. I need this. And she was like, okay. And I remember I just had one eye open barely. And it wasn't until the next day after, so the next day and then maybe the day after, that I had no pain meds in my system, because my soul knew that if I had pain meds, I would question the reality of what happened, which is why my higher self jumped in right away to tell the nurse what I needed. Because then what happened is once I was off pain meds, I felt this energy saying now is the time. And so I went and I grabbed that paper and I opened it and I read it. And my whole experience came flooding back to me in finite detail of everything, of the power to choose, of rewriting the next phase of my journey, of the validity of what we do as souls before we come into this path. We literally sit with our council and we talk and we choose what are going to be the best lessons of what we need to do.
That's quite a nice one. It's interesting that she was allowed to remember one thing.
Yes.
And I've never heard that before in an NDE, I don't think. So
yeah. Well, it just goes to show, Mike, that everyone does have different experiences.
Yeah.
You know, I love how she was talking about the juncture points.
Yeah.
Because I know those as sub-clauses.
Right.
You know, we have a life contract, so we can put in like these sub-clauses in that contract. Escape routes, you know, if I'm not liking my life anymore, it's like an exit point, so I can like die and then start again.
Yeah.
You can put in other clauses where it's instead of just one path, you can split into two, with where you both get to the same ending, but it's just different ways of getting there. So you can put in all these juncture points, which I call the sub-clauses. You know, the other thing I liked what she said is how it was so instant that when she decided that she wanted to come back, straight away she was hearing the nurse.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was with me too.
Right.
I was with my great-great-great-great-grandmother, Karina, and she said, you can go back now. And I said, well, I don't know how to go back because I don't know how I got to here. And she said, all you've got to start doing is think about it. So it was like Dorothy in Wizard of Oz when I started to think about my home, clicking my toes.
Yeah.
I then heard the nurse saying, squeeze my hand if you can hear me. Yeah. So I could and I could feel the blood pressure thing on my arm, the squeezy thing that they had, which really hurt, by the way. So that's how I came around. Then I saw that they were pulling the tube out of my throat. That was really sweet. But, you know, she's got a lot of synchronicities that is similarities to what I had. But then she's got all these different things like everybody else does. You know, we all have different experiences. Yeah. So, of course, I can validate what she said in some of her situations because it happened to the same as me. So I don't doubt her at all, you know. I really appreciate, pardon me, the ones who do come out and because it's very raw, it's very private, you know, saying, oh, I got sick or I overdosed on this or I was a stupid idiot and had a car accident. Sure. You know, kudos. But it's raw, you know, when we're admitting to our biggest fallacy, which is death.
Well, you're
you know,
opening your soul for the world to see here. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it takes a lot of guts, you know, it really takes a lot of confidence because it's not so much just selling our story. It's what will other people think when that story is heard? Will I be able to handle that criticism, the abuse, etc. that comes?
Here's the point of it. We've been talking about 3D, the third density, the self-limiting beliefs. It's a fear energy. It's, you know, support from outside. And then there's the 5D, infinite possibilities. And it seems to me when people have near-death experiences, they actually step out of 3D, and I don't care what anyone thinks about me, and step into this reality of all possibilities because they've experienced all possibilities.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
I mean, in many ways, therefore, one could say that after the experience, it frees them of the worry of other people. And Don Luis Miguel talks about this in his book, The Four Agreements. What anyone thinks of you is not your business.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the big things that I learnt with mine too. You know, it doesn't matter to me who likes what I write or who doesn't like my videos, etc. Yeah. It's the fact that I'm telling my truth because I'll just divert here. I was talking to a friend just yesterday and she said we were talking about people who make up false videos and etc. Okay, and she said, Linda, have you ever done it? You know, created something false? And I said, no, I can't. She said, well, what do you mean you can't? Don't you know how to do it? And I said, yes, I do know how to do it. I've been shown on my editing suite how to make up false evidence. Yeah. I could tell false stories about when I died. Yeah. But then my integrity goes down the toilet. Yeah. Because, you know, I don't know if anyone's watching this Amber Heard story with Johnny Depp, but once someone says a lie and you get caught out for a lie, everything else that you say cannot be trusted to be the truth.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's something that I thoroughly stand by. That when I say, oh, yes, I was out at this place and I had a car engine thrown at me, that sort of stuff, you know it really happened to me because I don't fabricate, I don't manipulate, I don't recreate. I just say my stories as best as my recollection of the event. Which, so because personal integrity, we've got to look in psychology. There's two sides of integrity, Mike. One is our own personal integrity. And what that means is somebody who knows that they shoplift all the time, okay? Someone who goes out every day and they shoplift. They know that they shoplift. So their integrity is true. Okay? Then you've got the perspective of the other person's integrity. So we have a look at the other person's integrity. And that's what I live by. I look at what anyone else, would want my integrity to be. So it's not just my integrity, saying, oh, I understand that I have this fallacy or I have this habit or obsession or addiction. So I understand that I have it. So that's my integrity. I'm living up to who I am. But then it's what the other people want us to live up to as well. That's why, you mentioned the Jeff Soul situation before where he created the fake videos about ghosts. My problem there is he used to, I don't know because I haven't spoken to him in months, but he does a lot of ghost investigations. So now that we know that he knows how to create a fake ghost video, how do we know what he films is true? See? That's where it comes down to. Because once you're caught out in a lie, you cannot ever get back to being the truth. So I'm sure that you live by that standard, Mike. I know I live by that standard. I will never fabricate or recreate something just to, I've done videos on my YouTube channel where the door open and you can actually see the door open. And I'm looking around thinking, well, Mary's outside because whenever I do my videos, I always put her outside so there's no distractions. And my front door is always locked. And then in the next video that I did, my front door opened and then it slammed. There's nobody here when I do my videos, it's, so it's true because I don't lie about it, But once you start lying, there goes your integrity.
Well, as the saying goes, oh, what a tangled web we weave when at first we do deceive.
We don't deceive. That's exactly right. Yes. So that's why it is so hard to debunk these videos because you don't know what the integrity is of the people who create them, or put them out, But this one, this lovely Gennette, her story, it's so believable because she's got nothing to lose by it. She's got nothing to gain from it. She's being very raw about certain things in there, certain events. So we have to then subject ourselves to the opinions of others. Am I going to be attacked for this? Am I going to be sarcastically abused for it? Am I going to be criticised? Am I going to be
honest,
shut down?
That ship has sailed with me a long time.
And it has with me too. I honestly don't care what other people think of me, Mike. So can I just explain that? Because
you're not going to get into my space, So, but listen, we're heading up towards the end of the show.
It's all good. It is all right, Dale. Let's have a look at Angela Gregg.
Angela Gregg. A great reading. And I've got to laugh at this. And I'll explain after, not for her, but some of the people in the audience. Let's have a look.
Passed away in hospital.
Yes.
Oh, okay. She wore glasses.
Yes.
I don't know if she was like to that.
No, she didn't.
It's like she did not like the glasses. She didn't want to be. Okay. She was being treated for something. But I feel that something about her passing was still sudden, if that makes sense. Even though she was in hospital, I feel she was either meant to get better and come out. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Is this more for yours? It's like there's still something, even though she was in hospital and she wasn't well, she wasn't really meant to pass then. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Dad was already over there?
No.
Yes. Okay. Was Dad associated with a uniform? No. Okay. Does he have someone over there with him with uniform? Was that his dad? Because there's someone coming through with your dad with a uniform. Okay. Who's born in the month of May?
But I've got 2 sons.
Yeah, because I feel like it's like Mum is saying happy birthday in May.
That was yesterday.
My son turned 22 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And we were talking about it.
Had your father passed on quite a few years before Mum? Because I feel she was a widow or she was on her own for a long time. She's really extending her love and showing me lots of big chunks of rose quartz, which is saying that she wants you to bring that love into yourself too. Do you love the garden?
Starting to.
Because
starting
she's
to.
telling me about the garden and she loves all the new things you've planted and the flowers. But quite often she wants you to recognise those butterflies that have been hovering around you because she's trying to get your attention.
No, but I've seen so many of them, and a few times I've thought, I wonder if that's Mum, and I don't even know why.
Well, Mum wants you to recognise that it is Mum. She wants you to know that the butterflies, she's trying to get your attention, and she also really wants you to know that she's good. She's in a good place. She's with a sister. Is this correct?
No.
Something about a sister. Do you have a sister?
I have a sister, and there was another sister that died.
Okay, with the sister, so it's your sister.
I laugh at this because that guy I would not want to give a reading to. I mean, poker faced, and when she said I made no, Dad's already the other side. No, really delighted in the
straight in there. He was delighting in it. Yes.
No, you're wrong.
Yes.
And the guys and the man and the woman at the back peeking in as if to say, "What the hell's going on here?" They're like, "Oh," it was quite a funny thing.
Well,
but an excellent medium.
Of course she is.
Yeah.
But the one in the audience that really got my interest was the guy sitting against the wall. He's got a beard with the grey hair.
Right.
He actually wasn't there for a reading himself. He just wanted that confirmation of hope that there is something out there past life. Yeah. You know, as soon as I started watching that the other day, he just really got me. You know, I attached to him. He wasn't there for a reading. He didn't want to connect with someone. Yeah. He just wanted to hear her, the medium, talking about it because he just wanted that hope. I'm thinking he may have some sort of health scare or he's just lost someone himself, but he wasn't there for a reading. He was actually there just comprehending what is out there. Yeah. You know, like when a religious person starts opening up to spiritualism and they want to know what's out there, so they go along to find out more than what religion offers, you know. So that was him in the back with the beard, you know, so I'm really glad that he was there. Just that energy that I got from him. And that one peeking in the door, you know, pity, I don't know if he got a sore neck by just standing there listening, but he was just so intrigued by what she was saying. You know, I've just come into the library. I want some mechanic books on how to fix the old HR Ford this weekend. What the heck is going on in this room? You know? Yeah, that's just so... You know, so I get the feeling that was at some sort of like a library or other meeting place because it's not a very big room, you know, and the way that he's not really part of it, so it is like a public space, you know, it's like a library or a meeting hall or somewhere that, you know, he's just like, what the heck's going on in there?
I mean, when I was in London, And I was reading for the churches, many of the churches would just have a room in a building that has other offices and other things going on, and they would rent this room regular on a Wednesday evening at such and such a time, and it'd be booked up. And that's how a lot of the churches are, because, I mean, let's face it, they come in and it's either a free will donation or, you know, £3 or £4. I mean, how are you supposed to survive with that kind of thing, you know?
That's right, especially the way food's going up at the moment, you know, and petrol, etc. Oh my gosh, Mike, you know. But we are coming into some scary times, guys. But hopefully we give you that peace of mind that everything is going to be okay. You know, we've already signed up for this. We knew what we were getting into before we were born. So please remember that, you know, whether it's our life contracts or, as Gennette said, those junction points, etc. You know, we do know already before our birth what will come in this lifetime. So just be patient. Allow and accept what occurs. Someone said to me the other day, she said, how do I allow? And I said, stop thinking about it. Stop worrying about it.
Step back
worrying.
From the resistance, actually.
Step back. And I said to her, that's why I don't say, you know, that's why I don't care about what's happening with the politics. I don't care about somebody if they're going to go on a trip. As much as I love them or despise them or whatever, I take my emotions out of it and just allow them to do what they want. And I will just accept them for who they are. Because ultimately things are about to get a little bit cray-cray. And, you know, a lot of people will start getting more angry, more upset, more frustrated, more impatient. So just allow people to do what they are doing because it's not our job to wake up everybody. But it is our job to look after ourselves first. Okay? So just remember that this week, guys. You know, keep going.
Well, so I'll tell you, I'm watching you from this bit of software that's getting the show on Facebook, but underneath is you on Skype, and it's been flashing all evening, lights flashing all evening. So something's going on. All good.
You know, it's all good, darling. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything here on my end. I'm not seeing anything on the camera.
There's nothing on the studio software, but the actual Skype where I connect it with, it keeps flashing white lights everywhere. So
wow,
Linda,
someone saying hello.
It's time.
I know, Mike. It is that time of the night and the time of the morning for Mike. So, guys, I hope that you've liked today's show. If you do want to be on our show, come do a little video, send it through to us. If you don't know how to do it, please contact Mike or myself, and we're happy to take private messages on Messenger. So, Mike Cavalli, or I'm Linda Ray. That's my name on Facebook. I'm Linda Ray, R-A-E. You know, contact us. If you do have a story that you want on our show, you know, if it doesn't matter if you've just got 1 or 2 stories, you know, you may have 10 stories that you want to share. Hello, because then we can turn you into like a little mini-series. Here's part 2 of the story from Tom or whatever. And, you know, we don't mind as, you know, but we want the real life stories of what people have, the synchronicities, etc. of what happens.
If you don't want to be on camera, we can get Katerina to read it out for you, and we put some little video in the background as well. So
it's all good, guys. So you know, share this to all your friends. You know, you might have someone that had a really cool synchronicity where they're at the right time at the right place. And, you know, you think, oh, wow, that'd be really good. So forward our link over to them, Medium Mike Cavalli, you know, and just say, hey, this guy wants people on his show. You know, because we are trying to spread the word. We do want to get out there. So, you know, we try and do our part. So if you are watching us and you think you've got a friend or a relative who might want to watch us, please let them know when we're on. So if they can't come on, they can watch us the next day or whatever. Exactly. Like certain people in America. Hello, Anna, because I know that she watches our show on a Thursday morning.
Right.
Or a Wednesday. It's Wednesday for her.
Yeah.
She's 15 hours behind me in Brisbane. Anyway, but off to that, guys. I'm going to bed. I'm
going to have a bit of lunch and then crack on.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bed. That's where I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to go. I just pulled out all my heat packs, so I'm going to go put them in the microwave so my bed gets nice and warm tonight. My daughter's in my bed, so yay, I'm getting into some toasty sheets tonight with all the doonas and blankets on the bed, because they're saying 21 Celsius, but it's not. It feels about 8. Right. I'm serious. I've got 5 layers of clothes on, and I've got these, and look at the Ugg boots. I've got my woolen Ugg boots on. Yeah, they're lamb's wool Ugg boots. Yeah. So, and my toes are still cold, Mike. Yeah, so it's not 21 Celsius here tonight. No. It really isn't. No. Weather modification.
And on that note, we'll say goodbye.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. And please get in contact with us if you've got a supernatural experience.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.